It is January 2018, and I'm making a driving video going to Old Country Buffet in Maple Grove, as today is one of the routines that I go through that are associated with having Asperger syndrome. This is the first time I went to Old Country Buffet in Maple Grove since, well, I can't remember the fucking date. It was sometime in last July of 2015. Damn it, fuck. It was July. Oh, fuck. I don't remember the exact date. It was either a Monday to Tuesday or an end of stuff. I think it was a Tuesday. This is one of the most stressful times of the month, and this is actually one of the most stressful times I had in a long time, because basically instead of having time to have fun, I had to do all kinds of shit and go through my routines that are associated with Asperger syndrome. 2 days ago on Monday, I put the round of information into the computer into my weather sheets for the month, and the fucking bastards gave me the same number of hours of daylight for a sunrise and a sunset during previous years on many occasions, and that caused me many rampages. I can't remember the exact date that happened, but I really fucking hate it when they fucking do that to me. I really fucking hate it when those assholes do that to me. God, I fucking hate it. Because it really doesn't make any fucking sense to have a sunrise and a sunset and then go into the date on the same day from a previous year to have the sun rise and set a minute earlier. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I need an astronomer to explain this shit to me, and I don't have an astronomer to explain this. But I think the people who make this calendar with the sunrise is just making this shit up. Well, maybe they have Asperger syndrome and it gives them full thrill to make up when the sunrises and sets are distorted slightly. I don't know. And then yesterday, I didn't have the day off yesterday. I don't have the day off today, and I don't have the day off tomorrow. I just started at 5 a.m. today. So I came home and sleep and had to force myself. Came home, didn't quit get to sleep until about, I don't know, and early this morning. Had to force myself to wake up. Oh God, less than 8 fucking hours of sleep. And then I got started at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and I can't come home until midnight because I can't see a thermometer. As I said, it's a fucking stressful fucking day when I go through these information days, and then there was the poetry slam yesterday. And I've had problems with these feminazi fucking cunts hissing at me when I say words like fucking cunt and talk about shootings. And even when I did the spoken words about who Jesus would make would decide his disciples would be, and I mentioned that he would pick Eric Harris and Don Cleveland are the ones who shot the fucking conformist pieces of fucking filth and terrorized them, or terrified them, bullies who terrified them at Columbine. And that just basically tells me that these fucking conformist fucking filth at these poetry slams really are on the side of the bullies. And a lot of them are bullies, and a lot of them are no better than the bullies who picked on me. They're just like them. They're so fucking phony and they're so fucking stuck up and pretentious, but yet they talk about how they love people and everything, which is a load of fucking bullshit because they're very selective about the people they claim that they love. But the good news, I did say fucking cunt a couple of times when I talked about, and I could have been hissed at, but it could have been, if it was silent, or not silent, but not well heard. But I still got to go to that place where another fucking douchebag threatened to censor me and everything, and I won't do it in anything as extreme as I did that time. But still, this fucking asshole is there. I'm going to be talking about diarrhea, though. But at least I won't be talking about abortion and stinky, smelly twats. I actually got gotta look over that. Spoken words. The judges still gave me the lowest score of anyone. The only good news is I didn't get, at least no one gave me a 0. The lowest score I got was a someone gave me a score of X. But no one told me that they liked it or anything, which really fucking sucks. I'm not sure they fucking care. I know what those people are like. I found a new place for spoken words. And it went over real good the first time. The second time, most people still liked it, but the guy who hosted seemed like he might be kind of a prick. I don't know. I could be wrong. I was talking about Bohemian Grove and On 11, and when I was talking about On 11 being an inside job and everything, he seemed like he was kind of cop in an attitude with me as I was at the end of talking about that. He goes on and says, whatever, which I did not fucking care for that. Okay, he wants to believe bullshit and lies. That's the problem with people. That's why the world sucks. So. On 11, do people actually believe that 9/11 was carried out by odd 10 guys with box cutters while the boogeyman was hiding in the cave in Afghanistan? Get fucking real. How can anyone believe that? So this will be the first time I've gone to this old country buffet since I got back from Albuquerque and Santa Fe and Denver. And I went to Columbine, which I'll be talking about in another spoken words. Oh God! And then another spoken words that I'm going to come up and be talking about is it's a storytelling spoken words, it's storytelling slam, and I plan to write about Ebola and a guy getting raped up the ass in jail when he has Ebola and he loses control of his bowels and he shits out diarrhea on a police officer. People are going to consider that writing and talking about this to be dark and disturbing. I've heard that shit before. Now, there's a lot of things in this world that are dark and disturbing. People have their head up their ass and don't want to deal with it. There's a lot of dark and disturbing things that I wish never happened to me, but they did. There's a lot of dark and disturbing things that I heard about, and unfortunately, these dark and disturbing things are true. Where there's so many horrible things going on, and there's so many people having to face situations that are so fucking horrible that they're even worse than death. So, yeah, there's a lot of dark and disturbing shit in this world. And I've seen it happen to some people, so I think I ought to write about dark and disturbing shit. The unfucking fortunate thing I'm discovering about the law of attraction is it does work, but it seems like it only works to a certain extent, certain ways. They get the miracles. You know, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I cannot see how I could be happy with the horrible amounts of bullshit in this world. I can't explain every fucking, detail and every single reason, but there's a lot of fucking injustices in this world. There's a lot of bullshit in this world, and my life is being affected and destroyed by it. So, also, I'd be having a lot of sex if there wasn't so much bullshit in this world. So, that's where the problems are coming in. And until I can find a way to use the law of attraction to move mountains and get rid of the bullshit, then, I ain't gonna really feel any better about things. But one of the things I'm doing is I'm returning my Netflix movie. And then I'm gonna go for my well-deserved feast at Old Country Buffet. And then after that, I go to the library, and then I'm going to do my grocery shopping for the day. and I can't come home until midnight because I can't see it for Mama. It's a stressful routine, but I go through it each and every month. And in February, because the February ends on the same day that January ends on, which is an extra day, just like January, I have to go through the routine on an end stub in February because the February ends on the exact same day that January ends on. And then in March, it will be on an extra day. And then in April, it will be on a Monday. And then in May, I think it's going to be on an end stub again. No, May it'll be on a Friday. This year it's going to be on a Friday. Oh yeah, and this is the place I went to on Christmas, actually. Oh, that's another fucking form of shit that fucking happened. Finally had somewhere to go on Christmas and I was fucking sick. Woke up on Christmas Day feeling queasy. And then I fucking threw up. There was a place to go to. Thankfully, it didn't happen at the place I was at. I started feeling queasy. I was hoping it was just something. Sometimes there's quite a few times I wake up feeling queasy. It passes and then I feel fine. Not on fucking the last fucking Christmas I didn't. I fucking got sick and fucking threw up. Again. All the stress I'm going through is fucking up my immune system, and I seem to have a more difficult time fighting off these stomach flus and everything. I seem to be hitting more often, and I fucking hate it with a fucking passion. So I have to stop and get the... Oh God, I have to go to the post office before I go for my feast. So I already gone to the bank. I did that yesterday because I knew it was going to be a difficult day. Not having the day off today, so I had to pick yesterday for the bank. Yeah, there's going to be a part 2 of this video. It's going to be a very short video, though. Most of the driving videos I've been uploading to YouTube have all been the Albuquerque and Denver videos. There's still Pittsburgh videos I haven't uploaded to YouTube yet. I probably won't even upload any more Pittsburghs until like Wowson and Ixton. Because Wowson and Ifton, unfucking fortunately, is the year of limbo, unfucking fortunately. It's the year where, well, if I did nothing, that would go into insanity, and I can't really afford to get into insanity, but it's a year where I restrict what I can do, because it's Wowson and Ifton is the year now that it's the middle of this decade already, unfucking believable. That the second decade of the new millennium is already almost half over, and the decade was technically half over on New Year's Day. Yeah, I did go ahead with my promise to make a driving video going by Columbine. Considered it considering I was bullied by a bunch of fucking filth when I went to school. It was kind of like making lemonade, because when life hands you a lemon, you make lemonade. And that video that I made when going to Columbine was my lemonade. Yes, the bad thing, I guess, it was, a lot of focus was that on. And then I went to the movie theater where the shooting took place in Aurora, Colorado. I went to both places on the same day. The guy who did that was fucked up, but from what I heard, he was under CIA control, and it's the same fucking bullshit when you hear about these things in the media. When the news is breaking, there's always an active shooter, and then mysteriously there's no active shooter. So, it's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. Now let's get to the point that I have to stop this and make a part 2 of this video. It'll be a very short video. I'm gonna have to stop.